Hey, this is Steve Buddendeck from System Cycle Supply here at CABDA East in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm going to show you what we got here on display. Our kids bikes, so DK stands for Dad and Kids. We make everything from getting kids started on balance bikes all the way up to BMX race bikes, freestyle bikes. This is our Devo 12-inch. Comes with training wheels, lightweight aluminum frame, quick release seat post clamp. Kind of has a DK look as far as the aesthetic, but it's not a bike built for a racetrack. Moving up, we have a 16-inch version of the Devo, similar frame design. Comes with training wheels. We don't have them on display with those. But again, DK aesthetic. Again, DK, Dad and Kids, get kids on bikes.
What was the inspiration with the Mars and the spaceship thing? What was going on with that?
Well, it's called a Devo. All the DK bikes, whether starting with kids bikes all the way to the race bikes, a lot of the freestyle bikes have a kind of space exploration theme. These being the Devos, we have rocket ships and moon planets, just kind of a space theme for I can say most of the freestyle bikes, but for the kids bikes, Devo is the starting point, kind of the taking off point, launching like a rocket, launching into bikes. Airborne is one of our brands. System Cycle is the home of DK bikes, Airborne bikes, and Verde Bikes, duo brand and Wise. Airborne, born from BMX, so it's kind of BMX DNA. Our team riders, Tommy Zula, Colin Hudson, Jeff Woods. The Skyhawk dirt jump bike. This is the bike that Tommy Zula won the UCI World Championship pump track event in Switzerland last year. He actually won Crankworks last weekend in Rotorua, New Zealand. Colin Hudson got second to Tommy. He got beat by half a second. They both ride this bike, the Skyhawk. Really popular, huge seller. We're close to Mike's Bike Park in Dayton, Wheel Mill in Pennsylvania. Obviously, Race Bike Park, super huge. You go there, you see tons of people on dirt jumpers. You see a lot of them on Skyhawk, so it's been a really good category for us and kind of a next step from BMX. This is the current model, it's just black. The next run, we actually have a green Skyhawk and then another black one coming out. So there's no model years for Airborne. We just make them, sell them, try something new. Sometimes we reorder the same ones. The kind of the extreme opposite is this Airborne Gnome push bike. So it's got an aluminum frame, 3-inch wide tires, and a mountain bike stem. This bike is really great because a kid can roll over most anything. And a lot of people teach kids to ride bikes with push bikes. You could ride through grass, you could ride over some terrain. We're excited about this. This is $159.99 retail. Just came in stock, so it's called the Airborne Gnome. Moving on to DK, which is kind of the bread and butter in our building, our best sellers. This is the Legend, which is 26-inch kind of retro cruiser. DK was started in 1979, so we're just over 40 years old. So this kind of celebrates DK's history from the early days of BMX. DK started in Charlie Danishek's garage, making parts for his kids. So we've been on the track for the entire time, and this kind of celebrates our roots, but also it's a popular category, really fun with all the pump tracks coming out. We have a lot of customers that their kids are now getting into BMX, so they're starting on nano push bikes, and then the dad wants to get a bike to kind of get back in the action with their kids. Again, got some retro features. The loop tail is really popular. Dropping down here, this is a 418. This is next year's model, so we'll have these out early summer. This bike actually has glow-in-the-dark graphics. 18-inch wheel size is really popular. Probably if you have a kid that's like between 42 inches and 42, 52 inches tall, this is a good bike size for them. It's important to have the right size bikes. A lot of parents buy bikes that are too big for their kids, so we offer a lot of sizes. We have a 14-inch Aura, 18-inch, we do 20, we do 22, we do 24, 26. So we have a really wide variety of bike sizes. So I think people that find DK or know DK are generally really into it. We're not really selling against Tracker Specialized. We're selling to people who really either know BMX, they used to ride BMX, they want their kids to get into BMX. So DK has a wide variety of product for those consumers. The 14-inch wheel size, we're the first to the market in the BMX industry. We've had Aura out for 3 years. This being the 4th year, this bike will be out this summer. Changes we made is we put cassette hub on it this year. We had coaster brake in the past. In the BMX circles, especially like if you're into BMX racing, people generally don't want a coaster brake. They want to get their kids started on a bike. They get used to the brakes and they be able to pedal backwards. Really cool. It has this short reach brake lever, so smaller grips. Obviously, a small hand can pull these brakes. Again, glow-in-the-dark graphics. I know we're really proud of this bike. It's done exceptionally well. and it's better than ever.
I like this bike because it's like almost the same size as a balance bike.
Yeah, so
You can
the Nano balance bike has a 12-inch wheel. That was the kind of the next step. So if your kid learned to ride with a push bike without training wheels, they would jump up to 14-inch wheels, and really good transition. Cygnus 24-inch cruiser, the cruiser craze is really popular. 24-inch bikes have made sense for us because when, early days in the early 80s, BMX cruisers generally had 24-inch wheels, so we've grown up riding and racing cruisers, and so it kind of makes sense. This is more street freestyle inspired versus we have a Sprinter 24 cruiser, which would be kind of our go-to for racing. It's not forced like DK's as a brand. We're not jumping into the cruiser market because it's hot right now, but it makes sense. We've always had cruisers, and people trust us to make great stuff. Yeah, Wise is our house brand. It's a new DK's tilt logo sprocket, DK stem on here, Wise lever. Moving back into Verde, which is the brand that I started in 2007. These are our grad bikes. So we started Verde and it got really popular really fast, like 2009, 10, 11, 12, huge years for us, especially the Eon was incredibly popular. A lot of our fans have grown up, like myself, where they're still into BMX, or maybe they want a dirt jumper, or this is a bike which we think is like the next step beyond BMX. So if you're gonna get a bike to ride around town and you come from BMX, you probably want wider tires, like going to a 25 mil, like fixie bike style tire. That's not the best jump from BMX. So we do a 50 mil wide 650B thick slick wheel, got a coaster brakes, aluminum shell, aluminum frame, chromoly forks in case you jump curb cut. But this is really designed to be a really simple next step right around the neighborhood. No cables, just got water bottom mounts, you got two different rack mounts here, so you could add a lot of utility to this bike. But this is a $400 do-it-all neighborhood, like BMX DNA neighborhood bike. This is the Radix, which is our chromoly dirt jump complete bike for Verde. Really, really popular. I mentioned going to Ray's bike park, going to Mike's bike park, going to Wheel Mill, places like that. You see more and more dirt jumpers. Really good evolution from BMX. They're more stable. You can go faster and feel better. Also, they make the jumps feel shorter. So like last time I went to Ray's, I brought a Radix and rode that more than the 22-inch bike I normally ride. This has a RST dirt fork, chromoly frame. It's got a rear disc brake. Again, this is really designed to get someone into dirt jumping. And this is $699 retail, which is really low price for a dirt jump bike, especially a chromoly one. It also comes in burgundy, like a maroon color. The next round of colors, we'll do black again, and we'll do clay, which is it's a cool gray color. So this is the sort of our bread and butter when we started Verde. 20-inch bikes. This is the Cadet. We have this bike in sock and black. This is next year's model, which we'll get in late spring. We do AV, which is the purple bike over here, which is entry level. This bike is really for a beginner, like a kid just getting into BMX. So we've got a shorter top tube, lower standover, smaller bars. This is if you're really convinced you're gonna really get into BMX. So you got a 9-inch rise bar, you got a longer top tube, you got a taller standover, you got dual aftermarket tires. This is Spectrum 22. The 22-inch wheel size is pretty popular. This is a bike that I rode a lot testing. Going from riding BMX every day before I had a job and I could just live BMX. Once I ride at lunch every day, this is a great bike for me to jump on the ramps and just, it's more stable than 20-inch. Again, it makes the jumps feel smaller. So for me, this has been great because now I can jump on a 20-inch and ride really well. And I think I owe it to this bike because it kind of got me back into riding a lot. Full chromoly frame, fork, bar, Verde aftermarket, neutral wheels on here. Here at System Cycle, we're doing kids bikes, we're doing push bikes, we're doing race bikes, we're doing mountain bikes, airborne bikes, cruisers, 22-inch. We've got a lot of stuff to see here. I believe in this category. I think 22-inch BMX is pretty cool.
How have you been? How's the growth been with 22-inch bikes? A lot of people talking about them, but business-wise, how's the growth been with 22-inch?
It's good. I mean, it's a good market. We're not bringing in tons of these. They sell well. They're not for everybody. I think a lot of people getting back into BMX, like if you look on Facebook, there's 22-inch BMX groups. You can learn a lot about what's available, but it's not big enough that every tire company should have a tire. It's not big enough that every brand should jump into it. I know that'll bump some people out because I know that 22-inch BMX crowd is really passionate, but the truth of the matter is the category is not that big. It can't. Like, they're bummed out that Odyssey doesn't have a tire. Well, Odyssey probably shouldn't have a tire because they know what's up. They know that they've made Chase Hawk's tire in 24-inch before, and they knew how many they could sell. 24-inch market is bigger than 22.
The JV, which is an aluminum 16-inch bike, really proud of this as far as we've done these bikes for 4 years now, and each year has gotten better. To me, it doesn't make sense to put like a 3-piece chromoly tubular heat-treated crank on a bike that's for a kid that weighs less than 100 pounds, less than 80 pounds. So we got a cool aluminum forged lightweight crank on here with a sealed Euro BB. We do aluminum frame, steel fork, smaller bars. The seat we chose is flat, so it doesn't slide off the back. This bike just got better and better as we paid more attention to the category, because there are a lot of great parts that are sized right for a kid this small. So the JV is kind of our entry level into BMX. Sells exceptionally well. Really popular bike at bike shops. So this is next year's model, be in late spring. DK's, again, born on the BMX track and dedication to racing. One thing is really impressive about DK. So it started in 1979, and DK never jumped out of BMX racing or back in. If you look at a lot of brands, they come and go, but DK's been steady. They've been in BMX racing every single year. So we have 4 different price point categories for bikes. They start with a Swift, which is over here. This is a Swift Micro, so it's an 18-inch wheel. So this is to get kids started. So this is everything you need to get started on the BMX tracks. Our Swift line. We do a Micro, which is 18-inch wheel. We do a Mini, which is 20. We do a Junior. We do an Expert, and we do a Pro. When you look at freestyle, like there's just one sized bike for everybody. With racing, it's got to be sized right. So if you got a small kid, they're not going to perform on a big bike. So you got 18-inch wheels to get a kid that's really small started out, and you kind of move your way up. The difference in what size bike you need for a 4-year-old versus a 7-year-old, there's not a lot of options on the freestyle side, but with BMX race market, you got to have kind of everything available so they can perform well on the track. Moving up from the Swift series, which is about $350 retail, we go up to the Sprinter series, which these bikes are between $449 and $499. This is next year's model. These will actually be available in about 4 or 6 weeks. This is our Sprinter Cruiser. Again, we do a Micro, a Mini, Junior, an Expert, a Pro, an XL, and a Cruiser. On the bigger bikes, the Pro XL, and the Cruiser, we put the same crank on it as we do on our $1,300 Professional X race bike. So this is everything. Big shout out Brian Colgrove. He's buying this bike, this one off the display. We get back to Ohio, we're shipping it to him. Pretty stoked to have him back on the track. When you move from a Swift to a Sprinter, you're getting sealed wheels, you're getting chromoly forks, you're getting an integrated headset. I bragged about these cranks already. So Professional has kind of been the flagship bike for a long time at DK. This is Professional X, Roman numeral for 10. So this is our 10th year of offering the Professional. This year we made a lot of changes. Some custom tubing, this really wide C-post tube to give the bottom bracket more stiffness. We went with the bigger chain stays. Again, we're trying to really get speed out of the gate as far as transferring the power. So we went with a stronger, stiffer rear end, still kept it lightweight. We also do internal cable routing. That's new for the Professional X. And as far as a complete bike goes, box fork, that's a $380 fork, so it's like a huge seller when you're, it's just a $1,300 complete bike. So to come with a $380 fork is like, you're getting a lot of value for your money in a high-end race bike. What we're most excited about is the Zenith, which is all new. We started developing this in September 2017. We're really proud of DK as far as getting kids on the tracks. We have the Swift, we have entry-level bikes, we have the Nano push bikes, but having kind of a bike that pushes the envelope as far as what's possible. We chose to do aluminum over carbon fiber. This is an expensive bike to develop. Carbon fiber would be incredibly expensive to develop, but also
We don't see a lot of carbon fiber bikes on the track except for the pros who get them free. And we also see them on sale a lot, so I'm not sure if the carbon fiber market is that big in BMX. We think aluminum is great. Obviously, we sponsor tremendous athletes that all have been testing and now racing this bike. So what we're most excited about is this disc brake system. So let's go around this other side so you can see it better. So this is 100% custom. It's ours. So we want disc brakes on this bike. This is a flat mount disc brake. A post mount disc brake you generally see just kind of popped up here sitting on the back of the frame if you look at a lot of our competitors' bike. What flat mount disc brake is smaller, lighter, and we're able to tuck it in here. This is unique. It's a sliding system, so the axle slides 30 millimeter adjustment and the brake goes with it. So you get a chain tensioner here, you tighten the brake here, but again, it's 100% custom. We came up with it, and it looks cool. It's tucked away, works really well. We also had a kind of a wider stance to make room for the brake, which is made a lot stiffer back end. The riders who tested this, like originally Tommy Zula, who lives in Dayton, and Josh Smith, they both ride for DK. They were the first pros we had that were doing the testing kind of secretly because we didn't want the bike to be out there. Once they had ridden it and were convinced that everything worked, we sent them to Kai Sakakibara in Australia and Spencer Cole in Florida. So they did they were part of the next wave of testing. Again, we started this in September 2017. They just came in stock last month, so almost 3 years of development on this guy. As far as sizes, this is a double XL, this is 21.5. We do a Pro, an XL, a double X, a triple X, and a 4X in this model. So we see bikes getting bigger. I know when Josh Smith was testing, he was riding a triple X. When we got production bikes in stock, he switched to 4X. It's unreal, but the speeds these guys are getting, especially on the big hill. So the double X is 21.5, triple X is 22, and the 4X is 22.5. This comes in a complete bike too. So I bragged about the box fork on the Professional X, but just aftermarket wheels for Duo, aftermarket hollow forged aluminum crank by Duo. Just if you were just to take the wheels, the forks, the cranks, and the tires, you would have $1,600 or over $1,600 in parts, and that's how much this bike costs. $1,599 retail. Steve Buddendeck from System Cycle Supply here at CABDA East in East Rutherford, New Jersey on sugarcane.com. Back to you, Billy.